Coming up next on Backroads, in eastern Montana, we'll watch seeds grow into art.
It's such a rare thing.
While in Augusta, success is measured in no growth at all.
Oh, you have to go where the weeds are.
At Marion Britton's place, the eyes of Loma are upon you.
I come in here and have eyes all looking at me.
And in Billings, it's all happening at the zoo.
I want to see the tiger.
This episode of Backroads is The Cat's Meow.
Backroads of Montana is made possible with production support from the Greater Montana Foundation, Travel Montana, and the University of Montana, where the discovery continues.
Well, it's beautiful with spacious skies, has amber waves of green, and has purple mountains majestic that rise up out of the plains. And all across America, from sea to shining sea, where the mountains and the prairies meet, is a place I need to be. Home is where Montana is my home. From mountain peaks to prairie lands, the places I have known. And I'm bound to ramble, yes, I'm bound to roam. And when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home.
Hello, I'm William Marcus. Welcome to the Backroads of Montana, a program that celebrates the unique people and interesting places found throughout the Treasure State. Today we're at the Charles Baer Family Museum in Martinsdale. The Baer family was one of Montana's wealthiest and most philanthropic families. Charles Baer came to Montana in 1883 as a conductor on the Northern Pacific Railroad. Through hard work and luck, he accumulated a fortune in gold, oil, wool, and real estate. When the Baer family opened this home to the citizens of Montana, they offered not only a lovely house full of antiques and art, but also a piece of Montana history. Throughout the show, we'll explore some of the treasures they left behind. Like this painting entitled Roping a Steer. It's by Montana's most beloved artist, Charlie Russell. Baer and Russell were personal friends, visiting often in California, where both families wintered. Today, the Baer Family Museum is managed by the C.M. Russell Museum in Great Falls. Our first story takes us to eastern Montana and to an art competition unique in our state. They're called Seed Pictures, and every summer several small communities create their own homegrown art. Art is everywhere in Richland County. It's in fields, flowers, and front yards. It's in grocery stores, greenhouses, and grain elevators. It's all here. It just needs to be assembled, one piece at a time.
It is a tradition to our fair.
It's such a rare thing.
To me, it's always just been so unique.
It's 3 weeks until the Richland County Fair, and 6 small communities are working towards a blue ribbon goal. East of Sidney at the local school, the defending champions are just getting started.
We thought we'd be satisfied once we got first, but we had to do it again.
They're outlining their picture with tiny canola seeds. The group's been together for 10 years.
And we know the other ones won't feel bad if we scrape all their stuff off while they're gone, right, ladies?
It's more glue and seeds than anyone can remember. A perfect mixture to make time fly.
You don't realize how easy it is just to sit and visit, and all of a sudden your 2 hours for the evening are up and time to go again. It's just relaxing.
The east side picture this year will feature a combine and truck in a wheat field. The seed pictures must have an agricultural theme. While they're called seed pictures, the groups can use other natural materials on the board, but they must be grown locally, and the plants and seeds must retain their natural color. Across the Yellowstone River, there's a party in the Crane community.
Happy birthday to you.
Shelley just turned another year older. For the past 20 years, she's been leading the Crane creativity and conversation.
We don't say we're gossiping about anybody, we're just sharing information.
After good food and conversation, the Crane crew heads to the garage and gets to work. A 5-foot by 9-foot maze will provide the theme for this year's seed board.
This is the fun part, the creative part. You know, it's the only piece of art, I think, that's done by a group of people.
Because usually artistic endeavors are one person and their ideas, but this is a committee project, and it works.
This committee has accumulated a huge collection of seeds over the years. It gives them plenty of choices. Most of the group is using millet seeds to fill in the maize path, while Judy uses a combination of alfalfa and sagebrush to create a paddlefish.
Good for you.
Crane is the traditional powerhouse in the seed picture competition. They're trying to regain their title.
We are competing to win first. We're not just trying to get a picture out.
Down the tracks in Savage, the cars are lined up at Linda Conradson's house. It's a perfect summer night for sharing information.
Well, this is kind of like the same type of place.
Linda's been helping out with the Savage seed picture for almost 30 years. She's a ringer in the competition, a professional artist. Her latest work hangs in a local shop. Back in her garage, the group is taking a different approach to this year's picture. Inspired by the events of September 11th, they're going for a patriotic theme. Black beans will spell out the words to God Bless America, and safflower seeds will help fill in the flag.
You want to work hard to make it different, and when you do it every year, that's hard to do.
Whether we think we're going to make first or not, you know, you want it to be special.
The fair is getting closer. The nights are getting longer. These are the tough times, dumping the seed board to see which ones don't stick. Finding new ways to apply the glue. One year in Savage, they needed dark curly hair for a picture. Lillian offered hers. When they needed a lighter color, they found the nearest neighbor. Whatever it takes. That's one of the unwritten rules in the seed picture competition. Another unwritten rule, never divulge your seed picture idea.
Very secretive.
Even though I have a cousin in another community working, we don't talk about it ahead of time.
No inkling.
Two of the gals do work together in the same office, but they don't talk about it too much either.
They'll say, if we meet them on the street or something, they'll say,
Have you started yet?
no, we haven't started yet.
They won't tell.
But nobody ever says anything about what it is.
They keep these things secret. I mean, I'll call and ask, how you doing on your seed picture? Good. Well, what is it? We're not telling. Okay. It's a fun thing to do, though.
Another unwritten rule, remember, this is a competition.
Oh, very much competition.
For a while, we were bringing judges in the dark of night.
The younger generation got a little more competitive, I guess.
Was not telling people who judges were.
It's healthy competition.
Yeah, it's good because it keeps us on our toes.
It's not vicious or anything like that, but boy, when the fair comes, there's so many nice ones. They're just beautiful.
Make two when you win any prize in here.
The fair arrives and the hard work pays off. Hundreds of hours matching colors, blending materials. East Side's truck comes to life in the field. The Savage Community Star shines next to the American flag. And Crane finishes what they started, on the maize.
And first place goes to Crane.
Art is everywhere in Richland County. It's in Ridgelawn, Fairview, and Lambert. It's in East Side, Savage, and Crane. It's a tradition that grows back every year. The winning seed picture is usually purchased by a local business where it's proudly displayed. The remaining pictures find homes in places ranging from senior centers to school libraries. The visitor center at the Bair Family Museum once housed an enormous supply of seeds, grain, and feed. Originally, it was the family's barn and also stored wool. Charles Baer was one of the most successful sheep ranchers in the world, at one time running over 300,000 head. North of Augusta, top hands and tenderfoots gather at the scenic Sun River Canyon for a unique rodeo. When the buzzer sounds, they have one goal in mind: rounding up the bad seeds.
Oh, we got a figure out. We got him right around the nose. Here's one of them half hitches right around the nose. Now, here's where supporting that calf has to get back up to his feet.
All right, we'd like to welcome everybody out to our 5th annual Weed Whacker Rodeo.
He goes right, he goes left, doesn't quite fit to his feet. He has to have daylight. He's got to help him, he's got to help. Oh, it's cost him precious time. Now we're going to take him.
You'll pull them, bag them, we'll weigh them.
Oh, you bet. Got him caught, flip, tie, break the twine.
It's a rodeo, all right, a barnyard full of blisters, bruises, hardy chow, and any cowpuncher's best friend.
Livestock don't like to eat it. It gives them indigestion.
The varmint in question is this: spotted knapweed, an invasive, noxious plant that poisons the soil, threatens wildlife, and ruins the watershed. And it's not even from here.
Typically, a noxious weed is a non-native plant that it comes from another part of the world, like Eurasia or Europe.
Wrangling weeds is not an easy chore. They're prolific. Each plant can produce up to 8,000 seeds.
He won't make any brothers and sisters.
And weeds are resilient. Each seed can survive for up to 10 years.
Hope to God I'm pulling the right thing.
But mostly, weeds are just plain tough.
Well, they're tough to pull. They've been here since Louis and Clark come down through the canyon.
Thankfully, our volunteers are a bit tougher. They know there's a lot at stake. Today's weed-pulling rodeo is near the gateway to the Bob Marshall, so every weed pulled saves thousands of acres within that wilderness area.
If we can have people educated so they're not taking weeds back into the backcountry, then that's a protected resource.
Quickly, the pounds add up as weed wranglers try to outpull one another.
We'll give 11 pounds. 15 pounds. About 8 pounds. 16 pounds.
Jim, put one more rock in there.
Competition really heats up in separate events where contestants win prizes for the tallest weed.
I was out in this big old huge patch of leafy spurge, and way out there's this big old huge one. So I went and picked it, and I won the tallest plant.
The longest route.
I think I got the winning route here.
And the heaviest plant.
5 pounds goes to Austin. Congratulations, Austin.
Where else can a 10-year-old win 2 gallons of 2,4-D and an applicator?
And I'm going to give it to my dad, and he's going to be really surprised.
And as an extra incentive.
And we're going to pay you 50 cents a pound.
Yay!
At the end of a hot day, over 1,000 pounds of noxious weeds are headed to the landfill. With door prizes and a raffle, everyone from the oldest to the youngest wrangler is a winner. And so is this stretch of weed-free, scenic Montana.
You have to go where the weeds are, that's for sure.
If the weed whackers do manage to round up every single weed in the Sun River Canyon, there'll always be a rodeo. They'll just wrangle weeds from another drainage. If you'd like to help corral some spotted knapweed, contact the Teton County Extension Office. The influence of American Indians on the Baer family dates from the years Baer leased land on the Crow Reservation for his sheep. The Pine Room displays a beautiful collection of Indian artifacts that includes tobacco bags, moccasins, and leggings. This child's vest and teepee were a gift to 5-year-old Alberta from Chief Plentycoo. The Baer family collection includes artifacts from all over the world. The sisters filled the house with European treasures.
In about 1950, Marguerite and Alberta started traveling to Europe and got interested in more collecting. And it's said that Marguerite would go into the shop, or when they went into the shops, Marguerite would pick out the furniture and Alberta would negotiate prices. There's a large collection of silver. It ranges from 18th century, early 19th century silver, and there's quite a bit of it. The furniture is, it is a remarkable collection. It's European furniture as well as American furniture. It ranges from the 18th century, early 19th century. The clocks are French and English. There are some bracket clocks, and then there are some grandfather clocks, and a very interesting collection.
In our next story, we'll meet a woman who's very serious about her collection of children's artifacts. There aren't a lot of people in Loma, but at Marion Britton's museum, literally thousands of eyes are looking at you. Only 97 people call the north-central town of Loma home. But on this summer day, there seems to be even fewer. There's some action at the quick stop, but the gravel streets of Loma are pretty quiet. Passing by one Loma house, you get the sense that you're being watched. Once inside, you know why you had that feeling. Eyes, hundreds of them, thousands, all staring at you, never blinking.
I come in here and have eyes all looking at me.
These are the eyes of the residents of the House of 1,000 Dolls.
And they were often named the composition dolls after the movie stars.
And these residents are under the watchful eyes of owner Marion Britton.
Way over in the corner with a big bonnet is Gloria Swanson, a silent star of the 1920s. These are plastic dolls.
Even with thousands in her collection, Marion can still remember the first doll her parents gave her in 1918 when she was just 7.
Well, it was a great big old composition doll. I was real unhappy because they paid $1 for it. And they told my grandmother, who was pretty stern, said, well, be ye thankful for such things as ye have. And she told me what verse that was in the Bible. And I just liked them. I really didn't like to play with them, but I thought they were pretty and just always kept them. And
that casual enjoyment would become an obsession. Marion can't remember when she first started collecting, but she's been all over the country in search of new additions.
Like I say, it's habit forming, I guess. And you just collect and just really happy about each new one that comes into your collection. Maybe it was the history. I really studied the history on all these dolls, and I've always enjoyed history. These are Vogues.
Now, after years of research, she can tell you about every variety of doll here.
These are bisque dolls. They are mostly German-made. Then we have a chameau right down in the corner here, which is the most valuable of the dolls. Those are Chatty Cathys. I think every one of the Chatties are there. The first Barbie is on that, was about 1959, I think. Well, those are just dolls. People give me dolls and I just put them there.
She has dolls made from just about every possible material. Cloth, plastic, sawdust, paper mache, china, rubber, and even tin.
The tin heads were surely durable, and the children, I'm sure, loved them as much as the prettier ones.
Marion says the oldest doll in her collection is probably the most interesting because of its connection to local history.
This little doll is rather interesting. They found a head the same size and the same doll when they excavated the old fort in Fort Benton. And they figured that she's from 1860, and she's called a covered wagon doll.
Marion says her thousands of dolls don't have individual names. She says there would be too many, but she does feel they're part of her family.
And I like to just come in and think, well, now, what happened when these dolls were around, when they were made? What happened at that time, and who had these dolls? And what about the people who lived with them? And it's kind of fun to come in and dream.
Marion's husband, 3 daughters, and 2 sons weren't as enamored with her collection.
My son lived at home at that time. I'm not sure that he enjoyed them too much, but the reason he built the museum, I kind of felt like he wanted to get them out of the house.
So in 1978, Marion and her family moved the dolls across the street from her home to this location. Since then, folks have been coming from near and far to visit Marion and her dolls.
And we've had people from all over the world come here, even from Saudi Arabia, so I don't know how they find this place, but they do. Well, they really seem to enjoy it. And many of them say, oh, why didn't we keep that doll? It's worth something now.
While she can't estimate what the dolls are worth, Marion says that's not how she views her collection.
It's not worth in dollars to me. It's just that I like it and enjoy it.
And even though she only opens the museum by appointment now, she's looking to the future. Her son, the one who wanted the dolls out of the house, will one day take over the museum.
Like I say, he plans on making it something better than we have right now.
So for now, Marion's happy crossing this Loma street to watch over the dolls that are watching her. Marion keeps busy in Loma. When she's not giving tours of her doll museum, she volunteers at the local church. She's been a Sunday school teacher there for more than 70 years. Sisters Marguerite and Alberta Bair loved hats. Alberta preferred red ones. She kept several handy here in the foyer. When the doorbell rang, she would slip one on before answering. If the caller was someone Alberta wanted to see, she would remove her hat and explain that she'd just returned. If the caller was someone Alberta didn't want to visit with, she'd apologize and say she was just leaving. Every year, 67,000 visitors come and go at ZooMontana in Billings. Montanans are blessed with a wide variety of wildlife, but at ZooMontana they can see exotic species, and visitors can see the keepers working hard to enrich the lives of the animals in their charge. Today we're crossing Canyon Creek and following along on a tour of ZooMontana. The little ones we're following are on the lookout for wild animals.
Look at guys, it's one wolf.
Yeah, he's laying down.
You can also see animal keeper Deborah Harris, our host today, out in the wolf exhibit.
I went indoors and I found a piece of rope. It's still a simple piece of enrichment that has my scent on it. Enrichment is a way for an animal to have something of interest in its life. Every day we try to give them all something to keep them occupied, something that will give them what they aren't getting because they're not in the wild. I brought these sticks to show simple enrichment. And what I'm going to do is scent them with my body scent and then throw them into the exhibit because that's their territory and they need everything to be intermingled with their scent. Okay. If they have a stranger come into their area, they either get rid of the stranger or they intermingle the scent in their area.
With their outstanding noses, the wolves will find the unwelcome scents and mark the sticks with their own smells. It's a way to keep the wolves interested in what's going on in their habitat.
It encourages them to come out, and just about any scent is very compelling for them.
While the wolves were taking care of Deborah's scent, we thought we'd head on over to another exhibit and honor the next request.
I want to see the tiger. There he is.
Nadia is one of 2 Siberian tigers at ZooMontana. But Nadia seems to have a different-looking guest today.
It's part of my internship to do an enrichment project for the animals. And I was just searching the internet and I found something. I was like, well, that'd be cool. I get to do a little bit of artsy things.
That artsy thing is supposed to be a deer, a natural food source for tigers. But for Nadia, it's one swat and dinner. Inside is a rainbow trout that Nadia can't wait to get her paws on. After some time to unwrap this deer, the prize is hers. But it's also a prize for the keepers.
My biggest thing was to see what the tigers would do with it. I was really excited about that, so I got to see what they would do with it today, and it was fascinating. I am so excited that they loved it. I'm so excited she loved it, and this is great. I've never been happier. This is just awesome.
Now that Nadia's eaten, she's ready to take a break in the water. And that's our cue to move on to another animal that enjoys the water. ZooMontana's sea otters will enjoy bones and dog biscuits for their special part of the day. It's all part of the zoo's enrichment program.
Okay, well, I'm just going to throw them in then, and they'll chase after them. One will come back up now looking for another one.
Captivity is probably not the ideal environment for any animal. But let's face it, I mean, we're helping a lot of these animals health-wise couldn't survive in the wild, and what we'd like to do with this enrichment project is make their quality of life a step up.
I usually leave them in for 24 hours and they chew them up pretty good. Not the bone itself, they just take the meat off. Enrichment is important because if the animal has something to do, something that keeps their mind busy, keeps their bodies active, they'll have a longer life, a more fulfilling life, and it's a way for the keeper to do something that's loving and connecting with the animals that are here. Yes, it's so much fun and it's so fulfilling. It's a way of expressing love.
Exotic species at the zoo come from climates quite similar to Montana, so the animals are comfortable. In fact, ZooMontana is on the leading edge of enrichment programs for injured, orphaned, or rare species of animals in the world. Well, that's our show. We'd like to thank Mike Bushley and the C.M. Russell Museum in Great Falls for allowing us a look inside the home and the lives of the Baer family. Today, the Baer Trusts continue to support education, arts, music, medical, and historical organizations in Montana. The museum is open from Memorial Day through Labor Day. All tours are guided and given on a first-come, first-served basis. It's easy to find just off Highway 12 between White Sulphur Springs and Harlowton. Many of our stories come from viewers like you. If you have an idea for Backroads, send it to the Backroads of Montana, the University of Montana, Missoula, Montana, 59812. And if you've missed any previous episodes of Backroads, they're all available at your local city-county library. As long as you keep watching, we'll keep covering the Backroads of Montana. I'm William Marcus. See you next time. To order a copy of this or other Backroad shows, or for more information, visit us online at www.montanapbs.org or call 1-800-227-5836.
Backroads of Montana is made possible with production support from the Greater Montana Foundation, Travel Montana, and the University of Montana, where the discovery continues.
From mountain peaks to prairie lands, the places I have known. And I'm bound to ramble, yes, I'm bound to roam. And when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home. Coming in off the road now, boys.